Bet. Let's get it. I'm about to go to Disney. We go to gaming. There. Shit pop up. Where's that? There it is. Oh, let me show you. What's echoing a lot? Oh, maybe he's doing that because of my hold up. Alright, bitch. You're not echoing that bad as I thought. Let me get up into it. Not echoing nowhere near bad. I did want to check this video out though.
I like making my podcast. I don't like making short.
I'm trying to tell you.
Podcast. So the AI chooses the best clips. Maybe this one.
Right now?
Yeah, because it knows what's important. And it actually gives you a score based on how well your clip is going to connect with your audience.
That's so cool.
And it also
Let's get this. I don't care about that.
January 4th, 2000.
Let's get into it. But this video crazy, bro. The title really made me click.
Moment that would haunt investigators for years to come.
Yo, what the fuck?
A young man entered his apartment with another person, a 17.
Nigga, that is not the way you look at your cousin. Nah, you need something. I already know what he about to be on, bro. That's a fucking weirdo. This is his cousin, bro. This is not no random girl. This your cousin, nigga. You looking at her like goddamn. Like when that nigga SpongeBob was stuck in Sandy Dome, nigga was thirsty as fuck. Nigga need water, goddamn.
2-year-old girl, his favorite cousin.
That shit crazy. You can tell.
Him completely. Later, the footage showed him backing his white sedan into the driveway, carefully, methodically. The trunk now facing away from the street, hidden from view. Minutes passed. Then the car drove away into the darkness. When it returned, less than 10 minutes later, the trunk was empty. But the girl...
How did he know that? How did I know the trunk was empty?
Who had entered that house that night, she never left. Not through the front door,
Or the
not
back.
through any door. And what the cameras didn't capture, what happened inside those walls during those crucial hours, would become the center of one of Detroit's most disturbing murder cases.
What, you can't trust your own
Is
cousin?
buried not only in a landfill, but
This shit is
beneath
insane.
lives
It
from someone who
is
was
nowhere in the
supposed to
world,
protect her.
bro.
Because
You can't trust your cousin, you can't trust
the person
nobody.
you trust most is the one who means you the greatest harm. Sarah Moulton woke up on the morning of January
Nah, that's
5th,
facts. Powerful statement.
2022, with a gnawing feeling in her gut. Her eldest daughter, Zion Foster, hadn't come home the night before. The 17-year-old's bed sat empty, untouched.
17. I mean, bro, you had to be like 22. She trust you to take her home. That shit is fucking crazy. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. He should not make it in prison at all.
For most mothers, this might trigger immediate panic. But Sierra knew her daughter's history. Zion was a high school senior at East Detroit High School, bright, spirited, and admittedly rebellious. Just months earlier, she'd celebrated her 17th birthday in November. Like many teenagers testing boundaries, she'd threatened to run away before. Twice the previous year, frustrated with her mother's rules, she'd actually done it.
The rules save your life, man. That's what I don't understand. The rules save your life. You frustrated. She trying to protect you from monsters. Didn't know it was in the family, bro.
The first time, 16-year-old Zion fled to her grandmother's house. Convinced to return, she stayed only days before leaving again, prompting Sierra to call the police. But both incidents proved to be false alarms. The teenager was struggling. Her grandmother's recent cancer diagnosis weighed heavily on her. Independence called to her like a siren song. But this morning felt different. Zion had worked her serving shift at the Detroit Wing Company the night before. She'd come home. She'd asked permission to go out afterward. And here's the thing she'd been honest about: where she was going and who she'd be with. Her favorite cousin. Jalen. Sierra trusted him. She'd watched Zion leave with him at least twice a month for the past year. She'd greeted Jalen herself in the driveway when he picked her daughter up. Sierra had agreed.
And there's no way that you didn't see the way this nigga was looking.
Shortly before 11 p.m. That was
at some point you gotta be like, okay, come on now.
The text message came from Vertez Gonzalez, Zion's boyfriend and fellow high schooler. Had Sierra heard from Zion? Because he couldn't reach her anymore. The last message he'd received came at midnight. 3 simple letters.
Hey, I'm talking to my girl about Zion, and we are wondering how often did Zion say she was with me, because that's wild. That's crazy.
That now haunt everyone involved. On my way. On my way. But Zion never made it home.
I want to talk some money at this point. That high key's annoying, because why he put me into whatever she got going?
Calls went straight to voicemail. Messages throughout the night sat undelivered, trapped in digital limbo. Finally, at 8 a.m., Vertez sent a message that captured his growing dread. Are you alive? Followed.
Damn. That's crazy. That's when you know your girl like that. But that is some wild shit to fucking text. But it's like, nigga, you know your girl, you know, like, you been hit me up. And it's crazy and nasty. I couldn't, nigga. She got a whole girl and a whole man, nigga. Nigga, ain't no telling what I do, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I can't even say it on YouTube, but ain't no telling what I do, nigga.
Bye. This is the worst thing ever. Sierra immediately reached out to Jalen Brazier. If anyone knew where Zion was, it would be him. They were close.
Exactly.
Practically inseparable, or so she thought. Jalen's response stopped her cold. He hadn't seen Zion. In fact, he claimed he hadn't seen or spoken to his cousin in years. 3 years, to be exact. Sierra's mind reeled. How could that be possible when Jalen had been in her driveway just weeks ago? When she'd watched her daughter leave with him twice a month, when Zion specifically told her she was spending time with her favorite cousin? Jalen pressed her. How often had Zion claimed to be with him? Once or twice a month, Sierra confirmed. His response came laced with frustration. Zion's lies about him were sneaky as hell and not safe, he said. She must have been using him as cover, spending time with someone else who lived near his house.
Damn. So now he trying to spin a mom, be like, yo, hell nah. But that's an evil nigga. Like, nigga, what are you talking about? I seen you, and you don't see her try to lie to my face. That's a fucking narcissist. Like, that's what I'm starting to realize. A lot of killers are, like, fucking... They lie, like, that lying shit. But it's, you know, I'm talking about just lie about dumbass shit. So, see, I say if you lying at nigga, boy. He's lying about dumb shit. He said, you didn't see me. Yeah, she's fucking seen you in the car, nigga.
He even offered evidence. Zion shared her location with boyfriend Vertez, a fact born from his admitted insecurity about their relationship. That location data placed her across the street from Jalen's home at 11:24.
Damn.
Short-2 video generation is not available in our region.
It is if you're on Artlist.
4 p.m. on January 4th. Vertez, ever vigilant, had screenshot his girlfriend's location at that exact time. So
like he's
Jalen's
supposed to,
theory
nigga.
seemed plausible. Maybe Zion was seeing someone else on the street. Maybe she was using his name as an alibi. There was just one problem with this theory. It was a complete lie. East Point police weren't exactly rushing to help. Sierra's missing person report made
Oh, that's
bureaucratic
crazy, bro.
indifference. Her daughter had a history of...
I wonder why.
They reminded her bluntly. The officer handling the case didn't mince words. I'm going to be honest with you. We're taking this as she's a runaway. Receiving little support from law enforcement, Sierra took matters into her own hands. Family and friends rallied. They posted flyers across
Damn, they
the
just
shore.
posted as a
They held
runaway
rallies.
that fast.
They spoke to anyone.
Nah, this issue gotta be fixed, bro. This issue. That's what we saying. We got all these other issues going on with the Somalis, all these other... I don't give a fuck about nobody else's issues. And we got our own issues. We still fighting for the reason why all you motherfuckers get to come here. Nah, this shit crazy. They try to do it as a runaway, nigga. You ain't even question home. You the last nigga to see her. That's gonna begin with something. That's why I say, bro. The FBI don't never want to fuck with them. Police, they dumb as shit. They dumb as fuck, nigga.
Who would listen? The media picked up the story. We need your eyes, Sierra pleaded to cameras. The police need your help. Meanwhile, officers eventually made their way to Jalen Brazier's home. They found him there with his longtime girlfriend, Katrina Smith. The 23-year-old father of 2 young boys, ages 1 and 2, seemed cooperative.
Nigga, you got 2 kids and a wife and you still trying to steal? nigga's a demon.
He invited officers inside to look
who the
around.
fuck
His
this
story remained consistent. He hadn't seen his cousin in nearly a year since May
Where you lying,
2021,
bro?
he claimed. It was Zion's mother and her boyfriend who seemed fixated on this idea that she'd been with him. He'd even offered to show Sierra his Ring camera footage to prove Zion was never there. When Sierra examined the footage, she noticed something. Gaps.
Yeah, like the shit was deleted.
Obviously
Nigga
deleted.
thought he was
she
slick.
thought. But police found nothing suspicious in their search.
And this is why Twitter be solving fucking crimes for the police do. Nah, it makes sense. I was wondering like how the fuck David case took so long, but now I'm sitting down and just keep watching these videos. I see how they how the fuck did y'all become officers? No situational awareness at all. They need to go develop their
No sign
characters.
Zion had been there. They listened while Jalen explained his frustrations over being dragged into drama caused by a 17-year-old cousin he rarely saw anymore. She's known to be a runaway, he told officers, his voice rising with apparent exasperation. Like, she's run away 4 times. Every time she's at some dude's house. Her mom knows
Damn,
this.
they gonna throw her under
Her
the
mom's
bus.
just playing it a certain way, and it's making me so uncomfortable. The officers left, seemingly satisfied. But Sierra Milton knew better. She'd seen Jalen in her driveway. She'd hugged him. She knew he was lying. The question was why. Sometimes the simplest solution cracks a case wide open. If Zion's location data placed her across from Jalen's house, why not check the neighbor's doorbell cameras?
What do you mean,
The footage
why?
told a story Jalen desperately wanted to hide. At approximately
What?
11:15 p.m. on January 4th,
Come on,
a white
outside.
sedan
This
with
shit
a
is
car known
crazy,
to be
bro.
driven by
There's no
Jalen
way.
Brazier
There's no
pulled
way
into
people
his
is this
driveway.
gullible.
2 individuals emerged, clearly visible walking into the house. One male, one female. Now, Jalen had driven his girlfriend.
That's clutch. That's clutch. You see, though, I say you can't get away with shit. And y'all need to stop doing crimes. There's too many cameras. Got him. Got that bitch. You thought you could get away with it. But they had cameras across the street, you little sneaky deleting video ass bitch. They got your ass. That's crazy, bro.
Why not check the neighbor's doorbell cameras? The footage told a story Jalen desperately wanted to hide. At approximately 11:15 p.m. on January 4th, a white sedan, the car known to be driven by Jalen Brazier, pulled into his driveway. 2 individuals emerged, clearly visible walking into the house. One male, one female. Now, Jalen had driven his girlfriend Katrina to work just before 11 p.m. that night. She worked the midnight shift at a manufacturing job 11 p.m. to 6 a.m.
So it makes
The
sense. She
second
probably
individual
asked you to
entering
come
the
pick her
house
up
at
after you get
11:15
on.
couldn't have been Katrina. Phone location data confirmed what the camera revealed.
It's
The
Jalen.
2 people entering Jalen's home that night were Jalen Brazier and Zion Foster. The camera never showed Zion leaving. But at 1 a.m., that same camera captured something chilling. Jalen's car pulled out of the driveway, then backed in. The trunk now faced the backyard.
Oh, so he could put the body in the trunk. That's why they can't see it. This nigga think he one of the smartest.
Hidden from view. After a few minutes, the car drove off. It returned less.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is Base 44. This is a first look at the current industry-leading AI app.
Less than 10 minutes later. Search warrants came swiftly. Inside the house, nothing. The car's contents were carefully itemized and examined, but there was no clear evidence of what happened to Zion. That is, until law enforcement brought in the canine units.
Oh, yeah,
The
got that
dogs
DNA.
looked clearly at the trunk of Jalen's car. The
DNA.
unmistakable scent of death lingered there.
Stop lying. He kept her in the trunk. You right, she is missing. And it's like, I'll be wondering, how the hell you living in a house and you don't know that goddamn none of this shit going on? That's the fucking better question. How you live in a house and don't know none of this shit going on?
January 19th, accompanied by a friend who happened to be a lawyer, Jalen voluntarily sat down with detectives. The evidence against him had become overwhelming. It was time, his lawyer must have advised, to get ahead of the narrative. Jalen offered what he claimed was the truthful version of events from that night. Yes, he'd picked up Zion from her home.
It took y'all that long to get to them.
Yes, he brought her back to his place. He put his 2 young children to bed, then joined Zion downstairs in the living room. They talked about
Okay.
normal teenage things,
Then what happened
her
when she
improving
didn't leave?
relationship with her mother, her boyfriend, plans for prom, her job, dreams of getting her own apartment. They used some recreational substances together, he said. Then Zion got sleepy. her head tilted back as she appeared to nap while sitting upright on the couch.
Okay.
He went into the other room to pour himself a drink. When he returned 15 to 20 minutes later, something was wrong. Her pulse was faint, he claimed. Then her heartbeat
He
became
trying to pull one of
non-existent.
those
His young cousin had simply died on his couch, just
from
like that.
smoking weed.
Instead of calling 911, Jalen said he panicked, not knowing how she died. He feared it would appear as though he'd killed her, so he made a choice that would haunt this case. I put her in my trunk, he told detectives, his voice steady and matter-of-fact, and I took her to
You
Highland
put in a
Park
trunk and
put
you
her
thought
beside
that that
trash
was the
recycle,
one?
and I left. Detectives pressed him. How did he know Zion was actually dead?
He
According
didn't.
to his story, the 17-year-old had inexplicably and abruptly stopped breathing. But was she truly gone? She wasn't breathing, Jalen insisted. Her heartbeat was like I couldn't read a heartbeat, couldn't feel a heartbeat.
You
or
ain't no
anything.
fucking doctor,
So I
nigga.
would say she was dead, definitely. The timeline matched disturbingly well with other evidence. Jalen claimed Zion had been at his home for roughly 2 hours before she died, placing her
What?
time of death just past 1 a.m. Cell phone records showed her device dropped off the network at exactly 1 a.m., the same moment she stopped responding to messages from Vertez. Jalen also claimed he hadn't deleted any data from his phone since that night, but investigators discovered he'd performed a full factory
Reset on the
just
phone.
2
Dumbass
days
thought he
later,
was slick.
effectively wiping everything from his device. Still, the movements of his phone could be pieced together through cell tower
How they
data.
use this? Oh
This
yeah.
placed Jalen at the dumpsters in Highland
And that
Park
cell
at
tower,
1
they the
a.m. He led
motherfucker.
detectives to the location where he claimed to have left Zion's body weeks before. There was no longer any sign of her there. The trash had long since been collected and compacted. Sierra Milton's world shattered when she
What?
learned what her nephew had done. He
That's
said that my
fucking
baby just
insane.
died, she recounted, her voice breaking. And then that he threw her in a dumpster, like she was trash. When Jalen sat down for a follow-up interview the next day, January 20th, his story began to change. Now he claimed they'd taken hallucinogens that night. The
Yeah, because you know there ain't nobody
substances must have
gonna
caused
buy
her
that
heart
died
to stop, he
from no
suggested.
goddamn weed, nigga.
This explanation was about as medically plausible as his previous assertion, which is to say, not at all. The detective saw an opening. Perhaps Jalen would use the drugs as an excuse for his actions, for
That he
whatever
did.
steps he took to end his younger cousin's life. Did you have like a freaking momentary, like, didn't know what you were doing moment? The detective pressed. The problem with those substances is when you're on them, you don't know what you're doing. Did you do something? But Jalen wouldn't bite. I was completely comfortable, he insisted.
He was completely comfortable, but she wasn't. I bet you was. Like, this motherfucker sick. Oh, they give his ass 40 to life. Nah. You gonna put his sentence at goddamn. Cause they don't do the death penalty no more, which is a shame. Like, I'm gonna be real, bro. For shit like this, they gotta bring the death penalty back. This is nothing you should do. Like, 20 years not enough, 40 years not enough, 60 years. I wanna see motherfucker get injected. Just have a slow death. Like, because, nah, you too evil, nigga.
Detective failed to elicit a confession. Without this admission and without locating Zion's body, there wasn't enough evidence to proceed with a murder indictment.
Oh, that's real? I didn't know that. I thought they had enough like suspicion. Like, even if they couldn't find her.
Jalen was placed under arrest anyway for one count of lying to police. His false statements had actively deceived investigators about Zion's whereabouts, her health and safety, and his interaction with her. It wasn't murder, but it was something. The search for Zion Foster became...
When he admits to her not being able to breathe and he put her in the trunk, I don't get how what you mean there's nobody, duh, nigga. And then she gets compacted. How does he not get charged for murder? That don't make no sense to me.
In one of the most extraordinary efforts in Detroit law enforcement history, garbage collection trucks working in Highland Park were tracked to specified areas in local landfills. An estimated 8-week project was launched to sort through literally mountains of waste from all over the Detroit
And she
area.
not there 'cause he's
These
spun y'all
several
ass.
weeks, dozens of volunteers, mostly wearing masks and hazmat suits, assisted by heavy machinery, picked through
I got
layers
breast
and
in the
layers
thing. He a
of
fucking genius. Like, hey, I got their ass looking through the landfill.
looking for any sign of the 17-year-old girl someone had thrown away. We're doing what's right for the right reasons, officials announced. And we're going to do everything we possibly can to bring some degree of closure.
I've never
Not
heard
complete
this case.
closure, but some degree of closure and justice to this family. Meanwhile, Jalen Brazier faced up to 4 years in prison for lying to
Only.
This game, you're not ready for it.
Police. The Detroit Police Department, assisted by the FBI, continued seeking a warrant for murder. At his sentencing for the lying charge, Jalen pled his case. 1. I did turn myself in. Yes, I lied. But I was not in the right state of mind. There was no way for me to prepare for a situation like that. I was scared. I don't know exactly how she passed, what caused her to pass. I just know 1 minute she was cool, she was fine. She laid back for a minute. Next thing I know, she was dead. The judge wasn't having it.
You think been lying about everything else?
Dispose of her body? Just
You
like
need to get to
that?
walk.
That was your choice? Jalen tried to explain his panic, his confusion, his fear, but the judge cut him off. Stop it. I won't have any conversation in this courtroom. Jalen Brazier was sentenced to 23 months in prison.
That's it.
While incarcerated, Jalen's phone calls home to girlfriend Katrina and other family members were monitored closely. He
23 months,
used
that's
another
it?
inmate's calling code in a failed attempt to keep conversations private. He also possessed a prohibited cell phone,
don't make no fucking
which he
sense.
used to
23
exchange
months.
thousands of messages with Katrina. Repeatedly, in his calls, Jalen would ask if anything major had happened. This seemed to be poorly concealed code. Was he asking whether the massive landfill search had found anything? Or anyone? The most logical and possible one right now, he told Katrina in one recorded call, is that there's nothing major.
I don't really want you to
Nothing
get
major
over.
is
You want
new,
me and
and
my
due to
girl.
that, there's a last effort to put together any types of anything.
So he gonna ask her.
Palpable. Keep your head up. Don't say nothing. Think about that for a moment. If Jalen's story was truthful, if Zion had
Why
died
you saying all
from
this?
some unknown and nonviolent cause, then there would be every reason for him to want her found. Finding Zion would exonerate him. The quicker the better. Wishing for her discovery should also be the sentiment of
Oh, I never thought about that. They is smart looking at it from the angle like, yeah, you want her to be found. Be like, okay, she died of medical causes. She died of an overdose. Nah, nigga, don't find out you was a fucking weirdo.
a loving cousin who cared about his family's peace of mind. Instead, over and over
Narcissistic
again, he expressed relief that no
weirdo.
major developments had occurred in the search. As the final days
Which
of the
the officers, I'm pretty sure they already knew what
he
was
began
going on.
referring to it as a search for COVID. It was supposed to stop the COVID thing, he told Katrina cryptically. And it's not searching for COVID, so usually there's an update before that. But actually nothing. So don't worry about nothing. Jalen served just over 9 months before being granted early release through a special 90-day incarceration program.
Oh,
A
just
boot
system
camp
is-
designed like
is
a
failed.
military program, where inmates convicted of certain crimes can better themselves and earn early release. It had been nearly a year. Zion had not been found. An indictment for murder had not been solved.
No way,
and
that
now
girl
the
was
prime
in the
suspect walked
trunk
free,
for a year,
returning
bruh.
to his home and his family. Sierra Milton's anguished question echoed through the community. Why is this man free? What can I admit to this and still be let free? Jalen Brazier's freedom was short-lived. On June 13th,
Yeah, shit, cause there's no way that a nigga admitted to disposing of his cousin just because y'all can't find the body and get charged for murder.
2023, after a year-and-a-half investigation, the Detroit Police Department was finally granted a warrant for arrest. The 24-year-old would
There we
face
go.
charges of second-degree murder as well as tampering with evidence. Upon his arrest, 2 additional cell phones were seized. Despite the factory reset Jalen had performed on his device, investigators made a breakthrough. His search history had been held in cloud storage. On January 7th, 3 days
My
after
phone do
dumping
it
his
to you all the
cousin's
time.
body in a dumpster, Jalen had performed a series of revealing Google searches. Are garbage trucks also crushers? What is the force of the machinery?
What
How
the
do police
fuck?
get your phone history? How do you know if police are watching you? But that wasn't all. In the months before the incident, Jalen had performed numerous disturbingly suggestive searches for
Like
adult
what?
content involving taboo family dynamics.
Oh,
Experts retrieved
shit.
the video results of these searches. Some were
Killed them.
reportedly very violent, as well as disturbing in nature. The digital evidence painted a dark picture of a man who'd been fixating on his teenage cousin
For
and
a long
scrambling
time.
to cover his tracks when something went horribly wrong. As the case approached trial, a preliminary hearing offered insight into the defense
I
strategy.
didn't even know they could use that
Cortez
against you.
Gonzalez testified
But I guess
that he
that do
believed
make
his
sense.
girlfriend was taking regular medication for epilepsy. Zion had told him she suffered seizures, he said, and without her medication, they became more frequent and severe. He'd even witnessed what he thought might have been a seizure Zion, becoming momentarily faint, slouching forward before regaining her composure after just a few seconds. The defense had found
that's
their
what-
angle. Perhaps Zion's medical condition led to her death suddenly in Jalen's living room. Maybe she'd had a seizure. There was just one problem with this theory.
There's nobody
Sierra
to
Milton,
prove it.
whose youngest child was in fact diagnosed with epilepsy, testified that Zion had never suffered a seizure. Hundreds of pages of medical records covering years of treatment supported Sierra's assertion. Nonetheless, Jalen Frazier's version of events was now being framed in this new light for the jury. The trial lasted 2 full weeks in May 2024. Jalen chose not to testify. The state called 32 witnesses. The defense called none. Prosecutors revealed evidence that shocked even seasoned courtroom observers. Zion's old cell phone safe at home because she'd gotten a new one contained months of correspondence between her and her favorite cousin.
Exactly, meaning showing you
Distinct
picking
texts
her
were
up.
retrieved. The messages Jalen sent ranged from subtle and unsettling to highly inappropriate. At times, they were romantic in nature.
Right, I get your perspective, but that's sneaky as hell and not safe. Because I trust you, so why would I question it? Shake my head, I'm sad and angry. Wait, what?
He routinely invited
What the
her
fuck
to
does
his
that mean?
home while his
And maps on iPhone is on point as hell. I don't really want to get involved, but if you want me and my girl can go to the address and knock on the door. We need a picture to show whoever opened the door. What the fuck does that mean?
girlfriend was away. He offered to put her up in his basement if she ran away. He had
Oh wow, put her in the basement is insane. Hold up. Let me reread that. That shit don't make no sense.
evidence that shocked even seasoned courtroom observers. Zion's old cell phone safe at home because she'd gotten a new one contained times they were romantic in nature. Over 4,000 distinct texts were retrieved.
I don't see nothing
Messages
romantic about it.
Jalen
What are they
sent
talking about?
ranged from subtle and unsettling to highly inappropriate. At times, they were romantic in nature. He routinely invited her to his home while his girlfriend was away. He offered to put her up in his basement if she ran away.
Oh, they must not be showing them text
police
messages.
if she disappeared again. Wayne County Assistant Prosecutor Ryan Elsey described the texts as pervasive, at times complimentary of her intelligence and looks, at other times probing in an immature way. Jalen suggested
Trying to
Zion
figure
that
out.
other people thought they were a couple. He claimed Katrina was jealous of her. He bragged about how easily he could be with women. At one point, he called himself a god. Prosecutor Elsey
Oh yeah, that nigga narcissist right nigga. You can't even help it.
concluded by telling the jury that the 23-year-old had been systematically manipulating his younger cousin for years, that he had fantasies about her, and that on January 4th, he acted on his impulses. This was the twisted motive that led to her death. Jurors heard about how Jalen learned that Katrina was pregnant with their third child on the day he brought Zion to his house. Messages between the couple showed how he'd lied to her about what he was doing after dropping her off at work. That night, Katrina felt ill, nausea, hot spells. She'd been to the emergency room earlier that day. Hours later at work, the symptoms resumed. She messaged repeatedly that she felt too sick to stay, asking
So he had to come pick her up.
At 1 a.m., I think I need to come home. At 1:26, I don't feel good. Minutes later, my stomach hurts. I feel sick and keep getting hot and cold. Jalen's response, "You can make it, baby." He finally picked her up at nearly 3 a.m.
Yeah,
He did.
he's
She
cleaning up.
noticed something. A
Like
deep
what?
scratch across his collarbone, deep enough to draw blood. He told her the cat had scratched him.
This nigga just be lying about any and everything. But they be going for it though. That's why he keep doing it. Y'all right going for that goofy ass shit he be saying.
Odd, Katrina thought. The cat had never scratched that deep before. The case against Jalen was largely circumstantial, though compelling. A forensic anthropologist who reviewed Zion's medical history determined that the only condition she suffered that could possibly have led to her death was asthma. But an asthma attack would present as the exact opposite of what Jalen described. Instead of quietly passing out with a faint heartbeat, Zion would have been struggling to breathe. It would have been very clear she was in distress. The prosecution's closing argument cut through the defense's theories. Like a knife, he brought her to his house late at night on January 4th, 2022, behind the back of his pregnant girlfriend, who was at work at the time, and she leaves that house in the trunk of his car on a night where he has an unexplained gash on his collarbone. What do you think happened inside that house that night? She died of COVID? She died of a seizure? There's a claim that he did what he did because he was afraid of getting caught for illegal substances, afraid of getting busted for drugs. You ever
No.
heard of somebody getting rid of a body to avoid a parking ticket?
Nope.
Sierra Milton and the rest of Zion's family waited as the jury went into deliberations. They returned in only 30 minutes. As to count 1, how do you find guilty? As to count 2, how do you find guilty?
Damn, somewhere they never really found her body, bro.
Sentencing hearing. Her death was not in any way violent. She wasn't hurt at all, he insisted, still clinging to his story. Before announcing his decision, Judge Donald Knapp outlined the convict's failure to accept responsibility for the murder, for disposing of Zion's body, for lying to police, for causing delays in the investigation,
He's a coward.
for
You
leaving
can't
his
even
2
admit you're
young
wrong.
children alone in the house while he disposed of evidence, for manipulating and lying to family. It is
You ain't gonna
unlikely,
drive tears.
Judge
Now,
Knapp
come on,
concluded,
bro.
that he will ever be rehabilitated. Jalen Brazier was sentenced to 30 to 90 years in prison.
Oh, shit. 30 to 90. And you had fucking 3 kids and a wife. And you, that impulse, that shit don't make no sense, bro. That mean that nigga must have been having that impulse since he was a kid. You gotta be careful. You did that. You gotta be careful. Mom should, I'm sorry. You should have questioned. Like, you're 17, I don't give a fuck who you is, nigga. Why you wanna keep hanging out with your little ass cousin if you don't got no fucking friends, bro?
For the murder, and another 5 to 10 years for tampering with evidence. These terms would be served consecutively.
I know
Sierra
that nigga
Milton's
threw
body
up.
trembled as the sentence was read. When it was read, it was just so matter of fact. I'm so happy they saw she was loved. She is loved. She was fought for. And this is the result.
It was a good story,
This
boy.
is justice. Then she
Well,
addressed
as soon as
Jalen
I get
directly.
caught.
You thought you were smart. You tried to be slick. The people saw you for what you are. And I hope you never get out. Zion Foster's body
he
has
ain't
never
been out.
been recovered. Over 70 volunteers and law enforcement officials searched the landfill for nearly 6 months before finally admitting defeat. Somewhere in that
Nah, there's no way. There's no way. They got to, bro. There's no way. He was able to just do. That's an hour. He picked up at 3. Where the fuck did you go?
massive expanse of waste and refuse, a 17-year-old girl with her whole life ahead of her remains lost. As of this writing, Jalen Brazier remains at an intake facility in Wayne County, awaiting his placement in a general population prison. He'll be eligible for parole when he's in his 50s.
Eligible for parole?
Given the consecutive nature of his sentences and Judge Knapp's assessment of his rehabilitation prospects, he may never see freedom again.
There we go.
This case serves as a chilling reminder that danger doesn't always come from strangers lurking
I don't be
in
right in your goddamn
shadows.
mouth,
Sometimes
man.
it wears
This
a
shit was
human
crazy.
face. Sometimes it calls itself family. Sometimes the person you trust most is the one who means you the greatest harm. Zion Foster trusted her favorite cousin. She got into his car willingly that night. She walked into his house without fear. She never walked out.
That shit insane, bro. You really don't never know who you trust. Hey, that's the one for today. We'll probably see y'all tomorrow. I'll do another one. Probably have this video done by tomorrow evening. Oh god, it'd be so fucking lame.
What? Do you want a whooping? Don't you say what? Kentrell, what did you say? What? Do you want a whooping? Don't you say what? Okay. Stop! KJ! Okay, I'm not doing it no more because you're a bad.
I thought I had to stop. Fuck going on my PC.